what's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's your boy Noname back at it again with another New York Giants video. And before we get started, real quick, as always, I'd like to say thank you to all my current subscribers, new subscribers, and anybody else that's checking out the video right now. Like I said, you guys are the reason I be doing it. If you haven't already, subscribe down below, leave a like on the vid. Put your comments down below with your thoughts, and follow me on the social media platforms. It's really how you guys get the notifications for these videos because, well, sometimes YouTube doesn't send out their actual notifications that they're supposed to send out. Now, in this vid, we're going to talk about something very interesting. I'm going to try and recap the New York Giants 2019 season, including, off-season moves and all that, the free agency moves, draft, all of that. I'm going to try to recap it because just like last year, the very first video I ever did on this channel was in fact a 2018 season recap. And that video was actually a two-parter because of the amount of things in it. I mean, this might also be a two-parter. You're talking about an entire football year, essentially, trying to condense it down into a 15, maybe 20-minute video. Sometimes it overflows and it becomes a two-parter. We'll see what happens with this one, but that's what I'm going to be doing with this video. And to start it off, 2019 was a very interesting year. It was supposed to be a year of winning for the Giants. We came off of our, first year in the rebuild, a 5-win season with Pat Shurmur as the new head coach, Dave Gettleman as the new general manager, with the 2018 draft class, all that. We came off that year on a little bit of a high note. And we came off on a little bit of a high note because in the last 8 games, the second half of the season, the New York Giants got 4 of their 5 wins. They performed much better in the second half compared to how they did in the first half. Everything seems to be clicking on another level. The team seemed to be coming together, hence the wins. We seem to be performing and being competitive in every single game that we played in, except for I think it was the Titans game. Yeah, I think it was the Titans game where we got shut out. So maybe not every single game, but for 7 of the 8 games, we were extremely competitive. And up until about week 13 or 14 or something like that, as crazy as it might sound, the Giants were in fact still in the playoff hunt. I mean, that's kind of more of a testament to how bad the NFC East is. But the fact that the Giants were still in the hunt, I feel like we should give the team some credit there too. But coming off of all that and going into the 2019 season, everybody expected good things. I mean, it is a rebuild either way. Whenever you're, as a general rule of thumb, the more years you are into a rebuild, the more and more success you expect because you're getting closer and closer to the end of it. So that was what people were expecting going into 2019, and we all thought this was going to be somewhere from a 7 to 10 win season, maybe fringe playoff team, or we missed the playoffs by that much, who knows. And well, it started off, well, let's say with a bang. Not really speaking in any particular chronological order here, but let's start off with the Cleveland trades. The trading of Olivier Vernon and Odell Beckham Jr. And I'm going to package them together as one trade because it happened within a week of each other. The timeline matches up. And when you're trading away a big player like Odell, someone who you just made the previous offseason the most prominent wide receiver in the league by giving him the biggest contract of a wide receiver, you don't just trade with some dude like Vernon and then all of a sudden decide you're going to trade Odell to the same team. No, that was definitely a one package deal. And we got rid of those guys. We got Jabril Peppers, we got Kevin Zeitler, their first round pick and their third round pick in return. And looking back at it now, I would say that it was worth it. Even back then, I think I said, I feel like there's something here that Giants fans don't really particularly know about yet that Dave Gettleman sees, and it has to be worth it because we're giving up our biggest playmaker on the team, possibly the best player on the team. It was very arguable at that point because Saquon was just a rookie, and guys like Dalvin Tomlinson were really starting to make a name for themselves on the Giants defense, but it was definitely, an argument to be made there. So we started off the offseason with a bang, and we're probably the most controversial trade of any NFL team that offseason. We continued to do so by letting Landon Collins walk in free agency, which I personally think was a mistake, only for the reason because we could have gotten something for him. We could have tagged him and traded him for maybe a third rounder or maybe even a second round pick. He was definitely worth that in my opinion, and the Redskins thought he was worth that because they gave him a way overpriced contract that I think it was somewhere $90 to $100 million as a strong safety. He could only defend against the run and had one great season in the NFL. They definitely overpaid for him. So on that end, it was also kind of a smart move. And then in free agency, the really impact moves that we made were signing Marcus Golden, who was very low risk, very high reward, and he paid off on a $3 million 1-year prove-it deal. Certainly proved it. We signed Mike Remmers. I can't remember what the deal was, but it was a very cheap deal, you know what I mean, for the right tackle position to try and shore up that offensive line. And at this point, the offensive line had 4 dudes on it that are very capable, very capable players. In my opinion, at that point, I definitely overestimated them. I thought we were going to have a top 10 offensive line in the league. I thought we were going to be going places. I thought Saquon was going to be 2,000-yard rusher. I thought Eli was going to have time to pass. And, I just thought the offensive line was fixed. But, well, the 2019 season happened, and that was probably only true for about the first 2 games of the season. You know what I mean? And then also with the Odell money, we extended Shepard's contract, and the other half went to signing Golden Tate, who was, in my opinion, a really good sign. And a lot of people didn't like it because of his age, but I'll say what basically anybody and everybody says about Tate. He's a perfect receiver to have for a young quarterback, and at the time we signed him, most people knew we were going to get a young quarterback in the draft. We just weren't sure who it was going to be. But Tate is definitely probably the best, or one of the best types of receivers to have for your own quarterback because, just how safe hands he has, how greatly he plays in the slot. He's pretty versatile too, and he's well-mannered, really kind of a team player, and he wanted to be there. He wanted to be on the Giants. Another kind of impact player, but in a negative way, was Antoine Bethea. I thought this dude was going to be an Eric Weddle type player. I was severely wrong, but apparently he did have good locker room, leadership skills, and he helped those dudes learn a little bit, at least according to guys like DeAndre Baker and Julian Love and some of their interviews in the past couple of weeks since we're in the offseason now. They did say he helped them learn a bit, so maybe that was kind of a plus there. And it's not like he was on any sort of crazy contract or anything, so, I guess not really too much loss there. But he was our starting free safety for a while, and man, oh man, did he suck. So that's really it, covering kind of the free agency moves from last year. Going into the draft, a lot of people, including myself, thought that Dwayne Haskins was going to be that guy that we should have drafted. And actually, I was one of the few people out there, and I do have videos of me saying this from last year. I wanted Eli gone last year. I did not want him to come back for the 2019 season, because I believed he was done as a player. I believed his gas tank was empty. I believe in order for the Giants to move forward, we needed to move in a younger, newer direction. I just believe that Eli, wasn't the guy anymore, and that was hard for me to say. It being a huge Eli Manning fan, down to the season where he actually got benched, even though it was something I was asking for a while. In a sense, I still didn't like to see it happen because he was my favorite player of all time. I mean, I was there at his last game, and it was very emotional for me. It was emotional for a lot of people, but Eli, at this point last year, I wanted him gone because I think his contract, there was something weird in his contract where it was they had a chance to release him before a certain date, and it would have been no cap hit or anything, but if they do release him after the date, there would have been a cap hit. Something weird like that, and I was waiting up until the very end of that day before making a video, and they didn't release him, and I went kind of on a mini rant. But I did want Dwayne Haskins up to a certain point. I got cold feet, which I don't know if it's my instincts or something, but about a week before the draft, after I made two mock draft videos, I think both of them I took Haskins, I got cold feet and I said, no, I don't want him. There's something about him that just isn't right. Literally a week before the draft. And, well, I may be right. We still have time to see, but as of right now, I may be right. And then draft night hits, and the Giants take Daniel Jones with the 6th overall pick, and pandemonium is afoot. Everybody goes crazy. You guys already know, I love The Entertainer, but his reaction video is extremely funny. I was watching the live stream. His reaction actually kind of encompasses 90% of what Giants fans thought, or the reaction of 90% of Giants fans. There was guys out there like Fisk Vegas who came out and they were they like the kid. They see something in him. They think we should give him a chance. There was, the more moderate crowd. It was a very, very small piece of Giants fans, but there was that moderate crowd. And I sort of took the opinion of, I was kind of resigned to the fact it wasn't that I wanted Or I mean, I guess it wasn't that I believed Daniel Jones was going to be anything good, but I just wanted him to be something good for the sake of the team not being trashed the next season. So I came out and I said, let's give him a chance. We don't know what could happen. He's a quarterback. It's the most tricky position to draft. He could be the next dude for all we know. And I think I preached that all the way up until now. And I'm glad I took that position instead of kind of overreacting a bit. Not to say that people who did overreact are like wrong or anything. It's a perfectly reasonable, reaction to have given everything that we heard about Jones up until that point. I guess it just goes to show that you shouldn't really trust all the quote-unquote experts out there in the NFL. But we took Jones. Not that many people liked it. That's just the facts. We took Dexter Lawrence. Not that many people liked it. And this was one pick that I was actually full-on, glad for, because I thought Lawrence would have been gone at that point, and I loved Dexter Lawrence coming out of college. He was probably my favorite pick that night, on the first round night. And I think he held up to his, 17 overall pick. I believe he has a great way to go in the NFL. And then we traded back up via the Seahawks in the first round to get DeAndre Baker, somebody who I'm to this day holding out judgment on. But if we're going to call a spade, he doesn't look like he's worth that pick right now. But like I said, it's just his rookie year. He has a ways to go. And it was definitely a move to try and shore up that secondary, something that's still very bad on the defense, and we have a lot of holes on the defense, but we'll see how it turns out. And as the rest of the draft goes, you guys already know, I'm just going to list them off. O'Shane Ximines in the 3rd, Julian Love in the 4th, Ryan Connolly in the 5th, and Darius Slayton also in the 5th. Two of the best players out of that draft coming in at the 5th round. Corey Ballantyne in the 6th. George Asafo-Ojay, somebody who's been sort of forgotten by Giants fans because he's been out for the entire year, a tackle in the 7th, and Chris Slayton also in the 7th. Overall, I thought it was a good draft then. I think it's a great draft now. I mean, we got, in my opinion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starters out of that draft. And that's really, what more success could you ask for? 5 starters in one draft. Daniel Jones, Dexter Lawrence, DeAndre Baker, Ryan Connolly, and Darius Slayton. I think these are 5 guys that are going to be starters on the Giants for at least the next 6-7 years, and that's something amazing, especially with Ryan Connolly and Darius Slayton. And then you got guys with the potential to be starters in Julian Love and O'Shane Ximines. But we'll see how it goes. I thought it was a great draft then, and as we got closer and closer to the regular season, more Giants fans started coming around to the idea of Daniel Jones, the idea of Dexter Lawrence, the idea of the draft in general being a success. And it kind of built upon the expectations left at the end of the 2018 season and added on to that. And now people were expecting more and more for this 2019 season to be a winning one. Even with DJ there, we all knew he was going to come in at some point, but we all thought the offensive line was fixed. We thought the defense was heading in the right direction. We thought with a second year under, the coaching trees, the team and whatnot, that would be progressing. And we thought that Eli, with the protection now and everything, that he'd be doing good, all that. We thought that the team would be doing good. And, well, it didn't pay off. You know what I mean? It didn't pay off. Before I get there, though, I would like to say probably one of the best moments of the preseason was Daniel Jones's preseason debut, where he just lit it up, had a perfect drive. I think he went 6 for 6 for 70-something yards or something like that, and a touchdown. Absolutely perfect drive. Just proved all the doubters wrong there. There were still haters the next morning saying that his touchdown throw to Shepard, which in my opinion was simply amazing, or was it to Alonzo Russell? I could be wrong, it's the preseason, it's a long time ago. Whatever the case was, it was an impressive drive from somebody that was put down by the media, and he shut up the media, and then they came back and they still put him down. Daniel Jones' journey is going to be something for the books, man. But getting into the regular season now, well, this is where the fun begins, because this is where everything went wrong. First drive of the year, not even first game of the year, first drive of the year, Giants come out and they do spectacularly well against the Cowboys, right? First drive of the year, not only did they hold off the Cowboys on their defensive end, but they walk straight down the Cowboys' door, and they get down there, they score. If I'm not wrong, if I remember correctly, they scored on their opening possession, and that shocked everybody. The Giants looked like the team we expected them to be. In fact, they looked a little bit better. Their defense went out there and stopped the Dallas Cowboys. They stopped Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, this amazing offense. and they held them to nothing. And then the offense went out there with this brand new rehashed offensive line and Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley absolutely tore that Dallas defense up that day. But on that opening drive, he did his thing. He went out. And Evan Ingram, too, that didn't even get me started with Ingram the first couple of weeks. He was a monster. But they went out there, and they looked like a completely different team from last year. They looked so good. And then they collapsed the rest of the game. It was amazing how much the Giants team catfished us the first couple weeks, because for the first couple games, it kind of played out like that. They collapsed, they came out, they had a great start, they collapsed. They lost the game. It was a terrible score by the end of it, 35-17. Listen, personally, I believe that the first two losses weren't on Eli, because the same thing happened in the second game against the Bills. Came out, everything looked good, collapsed. Somehow, some way, they just collapsed. Defense started to show its true colors. Offense couldn't get anything moving. And Eli got a lot of the blame. And he didn't deserve a lot of the blame, but he's the quarterback, so you're going to get it. And you're going to get it more, especially when there's a dude behind you who's very capable of stepping in and taking over, who the organization took with confidence for stepping in and taking over. So he got a lot of the heat. It was unwarranted in my opinion, but it was going to come. And then week 3, Eli gets benched. And I remember this day because I was walking home and I looked I just got out of school, took out my phone, put it on. I got a notification from ESPN. It was like Eli Manning benched for Daniel Jones week 3. I was like, what? They really did it this early? Just a couple weeks earlier, I made a video specifically talking about how the perfect time to bring in Daniel would be like week 7 against the Cardinals or something like that. Because then we got a good amount of the hard games out the way. He's still going to have enough time to develop. He wouldn't have to face the Patriots, all that. And then, bam, he's in week 3. I was just like, what? I remember making a video immediately. That was like my first face reveal to you guys. And I was shocked. I was extremely shocked. Like, I was really shocked because, like I said, man, those games were not on Eli. Those were team losses. The team performed horribly. They performed terribly in every facet, every part of the game except for the first drive. I mean, like, the team just, the offense couldn't get anything moving and the defense couldn't stop anything to save its life. And then in addition to that, the coaching was really bad. You know what I mean? Like, at week 2 was actually when I started hopping off the Shurmur bandwagon. I was one of the very first people to say fire Pat Shurmur. I don't know when I officially stated it on channel. I want to say it was probably like week 5 or weeks. Was it 6? I don't know, man. Whenever we played the Vikings, I think is the first time I said we should get rid of Shurmur, but I really thought it after the Buffalo Bills game because the things I saw in that game were amazing red flags to me, were extremely alarming red flags, and I was right because they were the things that got him fired at the end of the season. He made the same mistakes over and over again in every single game in the season. He would not adjust his offense to play better against the defense. He would not create new looks for his receivers. He would not consistently use the running game, and even then, he would not use the running game in a consistently good way. And then on the defensive side, this is not really Shurmur, but as a head coach, make sure your defense is prepared. On the defensive side, guys were always out of position. Dudes were playing, in ways that they didn't know how to play, mostly referring to DeAndre Baker and press coverage here. Guys not knowing how to tackle at all. And overall preparedness of the team in general. Every time the Giants went out there, they just seemed like an unprepared team. Like they just sat around for a weekend and they came in, they clocked in to get their checks and that was it. The team did not look good. And this was really around the time I started to lose faith in the coaching staff, to be honest with you guys. But getting back on track with the regular season here, Daniel Jones was coming in, and I had nothing but support for the guy. Like I said, since the draft, all I wanted to do was support him. And then after that preseason game, I started a little bit to become a believer. And then we all know what happened. Daniel Jones debuts against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Week 3 of the NFL 2019 regular season. Okay, guys, so I'm going to end part 1 here. I know that's kind of a terrible place to end it. I mean, it sounds like a cliffhanger, but we all know what happens. We're talking about a season we just watched here, but I think that was a good place to end it, both, in terms of the length of the video. It's almost 20 minutes long. Don't want to keep you guys too long. And also because, well, when Daniel Jones came in, that was really just sort of an entirely new, season within the season for the Giants. I think that's a really good stopping and starting point for this video and the next video, and the next video will be up soon. It's gonna be up later this week. Don't worry about it. I already have it recorded. I just have to because I recorded them back to back, so it's like, you know, I just have to edit it and put it up. But that's what I got for y'all today. Like the video, leave your comments down below, let me know what you all think. I mean, it is just a season recap video, so talk about, you know, I guess parts of the season that had you shook, or parts that you loved absolutely and whatnot, or any critiques you have of the channel, you know. But that's it. Like, share, subscribe. I'm out. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Put your comments down below. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Until next time, I'm out.